bit unfortunate for him.
Yeah, he's kind of stockpiling money a little bit, wasn't he? Unfortunate.
Yeah, he kind of wishes that that money had been in units that, you know, don't die to 12 vultures with mines. That would have been helpful.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate, but sometimes TBT does go like that. The biggest factor in all of that, though, was just the fact that Toka never really got a chance to actually scout anything.
Yeah, that early game scouting information, that's why a lot of people have some, you know, very pointed opinions about 4-player maps. Because if you don't scout what your opponent's doing, like, what are you going to do? You have to do what we talked about in game 1 and just feel your way around there. And unfortunately, the way the build orders worked out was not a very good feeling for Toka.
Yeah, but once again, like, one thing that I would say a lot of people are going to be quite surprised about is all 3 games so far have been, maybe not the PvZ, but they've actually been pretty close. Like, I think pSi could have had a chance. Now, pSi statistically didn't have the best of luck in round 1. They did actually finish bottom of the table, I think, maybe just above Ash. But I think pSi are looking to put on like a better showing this time, and could be a strong contender as we move into round 2.
I concur, Kicks.
No.
Now, I'm posting the replay again, if you guys want to join.
Okay, I have just seen that. I have typed our super secret password that no one would ever guess.
Yeah.
I'm now in the lobby, ready to go.
Oh, you're not ready to go because you're going to download it extremely slowly.
Oh yeah, I mean it's Korean internet. One day I'll move to a country that'll allow me to download maps more quickly.
Yeah, the Korean internet, as everyone knows, isn't very good. Like, Korea has like terrible network everywhere. Like, I don't know what we can say, but that's a complete lie. Korean internet is probably arguably the best in the world, given the fact the entire country is like one big network. But we're going to be moving in here into our 4th and final game of White vs pSi, but there is going to be another series after this, so let me just quickly generate that. Put the colours in, then I'll switch it up on the overlay.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, so the second series of the day is IRK versus Net Wars, so if you want to check that out, then maybe go, I don't know, cook something and come back. But I think this actually should be pretty interesting. Every time I watch either White or Seoul or any of our Korean clans play last round, I was just like, okay, well, these guys should just always win all the time, but then they really didn't. So that was very surprising to me because, you know, usually that is the case. But it's really cool to see which teams kind of win off of consistency. You know, they show up to play all their matches. They don't have any forfeits or, you know, weird stand-ins. And then which teams like win really straight up. I mean, White's super strong, so you always have to kind of think that they're going to do pretty well. But, you know, it's not like pSi is a weak team or anything.
Yeah, White has definitely got the advantage moving into the tournament in general, I think, but I think a lot of people underestimate the foreign clans. Like, IRK beat White the first round. They did lose to them again in the playoff finals and the playoff tiebreaker as well, but they did a really good showing every time. Like, even though playoff finals ended 0-7 in favor of White, like, they were very, very close games. Like, it's not a foregone conclusion. And the person here who's going to be trying to prove that for PSI is going to be Headmaster. It's going to be his debut game in the STPL, and he is going to be up against the head honcho of White Clan. It's going to be GyRo himself, and it's also going to be his debut game as well. He stepped in for FAMAS this week.
It's a shame we don't get to see best in everyone, but they would obviously just crash a little bit too hard, so it would be maybe not the best games.
Yeah. I concur. Every time I look at White's roster and I see like actually some of the best pro gamers in the world on there, I'm just like, oh well, you know, that would just be a little bit one-sided. But thankfully, you know, they do have other players that are a little bit more doable.
Honestly, looking at White's roster, they have one of the biggest rosters I think I've ever seen for a single clan. They have something like 30 players. So, and obviously that's including Best, Mine, Shuttle, Saskry. There's some others as well. There's a lot of ex-pro gamers in there and stuff like that. So they have a very diverse roster as well. They have lots of different players from all the different races, and it's really fun to watch them play. But they're going to be playing here on our fourth match, or our fourth map today for the fourth match, and it is going to be Hitchhiker. Now, Hitchhiker, the oldest map in the tournament, I believe it's actually from 2007. I'm just going to double check that. But it's a fun map. It's got a really cool design that's never really been replicated, but it was a very balanced map back in the day, so...
I feel like the games in this map are always just really short, rushed sort of games. So, I mean, hopefully I see a longer one day, but I don't think I've seen one so far.
I guess this is going to be your chance to see one now as we head on over to the game and get started with our next game in the series. Okay, so this time starting us off in the top left position in extra high latency, it's going to be Fighting for Green. Psi Headmaster.
Complaining about the lag as well.
This is what happens when Rapid joins. GyRo in the past complains about turn rate 16.
And in the bottom right, spoiled by kicks, this is GyRo, unless it's talking about the Middle Eastern meat, and then it would be Hero.
Okay, I'm very confused by that. I don't get
Have
what
you ever...
you...
So you know what a gyro is, like, right? It's like a Turkish kebab kind of thing. Like the meat inside that is gyro meat. It's those giant stacks of like lamb or chicken on a spit that you get in your kebabs or whatever.
I thought that was just called kebab meat. I don't know.
I thought the gyro was the spinning thing.
It's the rare wild kebabs. They're hunted for their meat, turned directly into kebab meat for kebabs, named of course after the kebab animal. Gives the kebab meat to the kebabs.
Gyro is
yeah,
also
you're right. It's probably
type
gyro
of,
like gyroscope.
Yeah, not only that, it's also a type of like...
I'm trying to be culturally inclusive here, Kix.
Okay, but I still don't get your thing from before, so I don't know if you want to try and explain it, or maybe let's just let it lie because I don't get it.
It's just pronounced differently when it's the meat. That's all I was trying to say.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
God damn it, tough crowd tonight.
It is. It's a very tough crowd. You gotta remember you're putting up with British humor here, so...
Oh, don't die ever. I am consistently reminded that of young Kix. I come over to your apartment and I'm busting out my A+ humor because I'm trying to make a good impression, and like none of it goes anywhere, and you just kind of look at me and I'm like, oh wow, we're gonna get kicked out of here. But thankfully, as a benevolent savior of esports as you are, you allowed us to stay, and you've even invited me back for some reason. So I thought I'd repay the favor.
Yeah,
That's got to be a mistake, surely.
It's very possible, but maybe it was just a token invite because I know you're probably never going to come back again. Maybe it's all like some deep concerted plan, but here we go. Looks like we're going to have GyRo balling in, interestingly, on this map. Not choosing to put up with anything, wants to maybe make sure he doesn't die to any cheese or anything like that. Play a little bit more greedy as well.
Yeah, and the product does because Zealot doesn't move out of it for whatever reason.
I think he's trying to block the SME, but...
The rare defensive Zealot. Okay, so instead he's going to do neither of those things. He moves out very slowly, he doesn't block the SCV, so this Zealot's life is nothing but sadness. The Zealot, like, if the Zealot had a mouth, it would be singing like a Simple Plan song right now. It's just really unhappy that its purpose in life is, fairly limited at this point.
Now, one thing that is quite interesting with this map that people may not know is you do have this weird, like, middle path in the middle, obviously, which is very, very narrow. But around the edge, you actually have a lot of expansions that aren't really blocked off by anything. We may even see GyRo go to expand to one of these. He is building his command zone at the bottom left, and we also have blocking the mains from the other side, a 5,000 health Zelnaga temple that I believe isn't stacked, but I can't quite remember. There may be 3 of them there. I've never really took this map into the editor to have a look, but you see that GyRo is making use of this sort of back way to try and get away from this Dragoon, but he's not going to be able to get back to his base.
Oh, yeah, but the main base is like 1,000,000 acres.
It
So
is.
it's really annoying.
It's one of the biggest mains. I think the only other main that would be bigger is going to be Neo Ground Zero or Ground Zero. Oh, but there we go. Looks like Headmaster's found the temples, seen that he can't get his Dragoon through, although I'm not sure if the Dragoon is just very confused. I can never really tell with Dragoon pathing.
I can never tell with Dragoons. Maybe they're confused, maybe it's deliberate. Who knows? But yeah, I'm glad that we actually did see a full wall in from our Terran player, because I think I remember mostly kind of aggressive games like that. I watched, I think it was Reach versus some other Terran player on here, and it looked like what it would look like when Terrans don't wall in, which is pretty short. So this is the same, I guess, kind of idea, but even still, you're still going to see the same kind of early Protoss pressure, which is to, you know, get Dragoons out and try to pressure out on the map. And right now, I think there's one tank. Yeah, only one tank.
Yeah, this could be quite dangerous. He's got 1 tank and 1 marine against 3 Dragoons and a Zealot, and if they push in right this second, this forward expansion here by GyRo may be actually maybe countered, but it looks like he's got siege mode. He's got that the barracks out to try and take some of the shots. And is he going to be able to hold on? The probe getting a little bit confused by Headmaster as well.
I think GyRo might be missing a little bit of a timing right now. If he goes right now, there's no way that one tank would have been able to stop that, especially if it was on the low ground. But now that siege mode is done, this is going to be a lot more holdable.
It looks like he wants to wait for his Reaver to come down and distract him from the back before he pushes in. But he's going to push in anyway, apparently. Doesn't even care about anything.
Luckily enough, he didn't take any hull damage on his Dragoon. He pulls back at the right second. He does at least know how many tanks there are now. That's quite a big deal. Now GyRo should have his... No, he actually skips tanks in favor of going for 4 vultures and going for a dropship as well. Now, as we said before, this has well, it is a very big map. There's a lot of pathways into the main, and now to start with, there is like a snake path going around, so we could see him just drop over the temples. But this Reaver could be quite dangerous. There's not going to be a Wraith. There's not going to be any anti-air whatsoever.
I feel like you just drop the Reaver. You just drop the Reaver like directly on the tank. Are you counting the 1 Marine as anti-air?
Yeah, he's the hero. He's going to save everything.
Well, thankfully, Hero Marine is a StarCraft 2 player, and we definitely won't see any Hero Marines in this game. I don't think so. Like, one of 2 things is going to happen.
Well.
Like, these are 4 speed vultures, so in theory, they could just kill absolutely every probe. But, like, which happens first? Every probe dies, or he drops the Reaver on this tank, or the Zealot on this tank, and then kills everything with it. And I think one of those is slightly more likely than the other.
And it looks like that tank is dead already. It's immediately gone down. The vultures are going to be dropped in. There is a Reaver back home to defend, but the Scarab bugging out. Oh, but all the SCVs are now on one base. He needs to make sure he picks up the Reaver. He can't let it die to mines.
Well, the vultures are in his base, and the Reaver doesn't have any Scarabs so far. The defensive one starts him now, but it might just die to mines.
Oh no, this could be pretty big. He does get a nice mine that kills a lot, or he does get a nice Scarab that kills a lot of the mines, but both of them really focusing on 2 fronts here. The Reaver at the front not being forced into the mineral line, but the Reaver did go down. There's nothing back home to defend. He's pulled his probes. This is going to be a base trade situation by the looks of it. A worker trade. There we go. A nice Scarab does go down. How much can he kill?
Yeah, I mean, vultures just kill buildings really, really quickly. So even though, or really, really slowly, they kill probes really quickly. So if he wants to kill the probes, that's fine. But I mean, he's never going to be able to kill the buildings with just 1 vulture, because the rest of the vultures die.
Oh,
so,
the Scarab!
Jeez,
oh, but
that's about it. All right, so he has a Wraith. So oh no, the Wraith is going to kill the shuttle, but the Reaver should be able to get off a couple more Scarabs. This actually was not as crazy base trade as I thought it was.
Nice. Good 17 kills on that Reaver. And he's actually mining on his natural now, is our Protoss player Headmaster. There's only 1 vulture left. It did get 6 kills before it will eventually go down to this Dragoon. But this is going to be a very, very scrappy game. Headmaster with the
Yeah,
very
Terran
slight...
only has 10 SCVs, 3 of them not even moving actually in the top right of his base, just chilling there.
Yeah, he's forgot about them, unfortunately. Now, GyRo does spend a lot of time leading the clan. I'm not sure how much he does actually play, but he is probably one of the better clan leaders in Korea. They win a lot of Korean clan leagues and everything, but here we go. GyRo knows what to do. He's picked up his remaining units. He is going to go for another drop, and he is going to be able to drop on this high ground. And what is Headmaster going to be able to do about this? There's no shuttle.
Yeah, he's making observers instead of shuttles, interestingly enough. I think making another shuttle, like a Reaver without a shuttle is
Oh, the
pretty
pylon sees the drop.
rough. But yeah, he at least is going to know that this is coming. But I mean, that Reaver is just going to be so slow in trying to get over here and deal with that.
Oh, and the Dragoon is just going to be able to, or the dropship is just going to be able to drop down into the natural now. Another couple of probes are going to go down here, and he's not blocking the ramp.
Yeah, why don't you block it? Okay, well the mine in it itself is going to be a big
Why is the
concern.
Reaver there? It's a very strange...
It was crawling over because I think he thought he was going to drop tanks on the high ground, or something crazy like that. But yeah, that's not where you need to be, Mr. Reaver.
Yeah, unfortunately for Headmaster, he loses control of his units just for a second there. And it looks like we're going to have yet another drop coming in. The tank was not dropped out. It's going to come back in, but straight over the pylon again. So Headmaster should be able to get ready for this, but will he be able to drop? Will he be able to get the Dragoons in position? And that dropship's taking more and more damage.
I'm with you, Cadenzi. Why is that Reaver up there?
I think he's just like chilling out, you know, he's tired, just wants to have a little break there. But for some reason he's just like, you know what, observers is what I need right now, not shuttles or anything.
I mean, to be fair, the drop did like actually 0, so
Yeah, and
yeah,
that
that's
was all
pretty
because
good.
of the vision. He did take a little bit of damage on one Dragoon, but he does need to be careful. GyRo is still doing a very good... Oh, that was a nice block on the ramp.
Yeah, he finally figured out that blocking ramps keeps Terran units on the ground from getting through them. So, a big realization to defend. But still, if you look back at home, what is this? It's maybe 15, 20 workers to a much better economy for our Terran player.
Oh, and this is going to be a problem though. Headmaster, he's pushing in. There's actually no defense, and Observer is going to see everything. And the final units are being
Oh, he does
picked
have
up
a
in the
rift though,
dropship.
like the rift can kill everything, can't it?
Unfortunately not for
observers
him.
and
He has no
Dragoons.
observer, yeah. And here we go, the tank being dropped on the high ground. Could this be the moment that pSi needed? Is Headmaster going to be able to push his way up the ramp into a victory? And a little bit of pride here for pSi.
SCVs. You've got
I was
this
gonna say,
SCVs.
you know, Kix, SCVs are actually fantastic units. So I feel like you might have counted out my my boy a little bit early here, because he does have quite a few SCVs, and those are currently kind of winning in the game. Siege Tank's going to come within range of these Dragoons on the low ground and push them back. And it turns out one Siege Tank is really all you need, because along with SCVs, Siege Tanks are also pretty good
The
units.
Reaver's coming though. He wants a piece of action.
Yeah, and the Reaver is going to be able to do an absolute number on the SCVs. They're all stacked up in the main, they're all stacked up in the natural as well. And if this shuttle goes into the right place, it could do a lot of damage. And GyRo is moving his tanks incredibly close together, so he could drop the Reaver in between them if he wanted to.
He does have the Wraith still. If he does spot the dropship early, maybe he can take it out quickly.
Oh, here we go, the shuttle coming in. It's going to fly straight past the Wraith, and here we go. The shuttle's going to drop the Reaver. How much damage is this going to do? 5 kills with 1 Scarab. That is absolutely huge.
Oh no! Okay.
Oh, but the shuttle's going to go down.
Might be alphabet time again here, guys. I don't know. This is those are pretty crazy hits. He also gets a free tank with that, so that's pretty good. Some bonus SCVs maybe if that's
Oh,
Scarab
yeah, that's going to
comes out.
die.
Okay. Thankfully, Wraiths actually just throw rocks out of their airplane windows at things on the ground and hope. It's actually just like a little Ewok piloting the Wraith, and just knows only how to throw little tiny things that deal 2 damage. So the Reaver gets a ton of kills. Did you catch how many kills it had before it died?
I think it had like
9.
8 kills or 9, yeah.
Ugh, disgusting. So we just are not allowed to have a good number of workers for either player this game. I think finally, you know, they've got okay economies. I think, you know, Headmaster has by far the better one right now, but
Oh, a
he
third
also has,
Nexus. That's a bit
yeah,
saucy.
he feels pretty confident. I mean, I would feel pretty good too if I got in and got like sick Reaver shots off on my opponent's economy, but
I'm really surprised
you
he
know,
hasn't dropped a probe in the sort of semi-island in the middle.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty good base. It's got, I believe, full gas, and you do have to kill the side disruptors to get through, but of course, it is within tank range, so it makes it a little bit harder to take, especially when you know your opponent's going for a dropship themselves.
But if you take the one on the right side, like the tanks have to go like all the way around in your opponent's base to get over the to shoot
Yeah,
over the edge.
unless
Right?
you drop them, that's the biggest problem. Like, if they get
Yeah,
dropped
I
in there, it's
suppose.
kind of hard to defend. But we do have the Citadel up now, going for Zealot legs. He only has 4 gateways though. The economies have been so shot for both players. 14 minutes into the game, we only have 3 factories against 4 gateways. How insane is that?
well, the economies were kind of reset like two, 3 times, something like that. So this game, I mean, you look at the clock and it says 14 minutes, but it feels like it's maybe like an 8-minute game because everything's really slowed down. But I guess one of the things that's not really too slowed down is, you know, the expansions. I don't know exactly where the Terran would have gone if he had had the opportunity to, but while the Protoss player feels really, you know, comfortable expanding or maybe uncomfortable, but it's just going to try to make it work. He also has this gigantic army in the middle of the map, and Terran is still on, was this 2 tanks? Okay, 3 tanks. Aha! A
Oh,
third
but
tank
his
appears.
tanks are going all the way to the back to kill the temples, and meanwhile in the front, all the dragoons are going to come in, and the shuttle's going to drop
Oh,
right
this...
on the only tank defending.
Yeah, this could be, well, there's actually another tank in the natural, but this is going to be a huge amount of damage, and Reaver drops down as well, gets a nice scarab on that bottom tank, but the Reaver not actually doing as much as it could have done, but here we go, it looks like he's broken the ramp, he's broken the natural, and this is going to be a huge amount of damage, and looks like more and more SCVs are going to get taken down, trying to hold his ramp.
I mean, the Reavers do die, but the siege tanks are sieged in the back with Zealot and Dragoon on top of them, so they're going to die basically instantly, and even though Dragoon's worst enemy is a ramp, thanks to both the new update and good control, the ramp should be pretty easy to traverse, and I mean, SCVs were good, as we said earlier, but unfortunately when you have nothing else except 1 tank that will die right now, this is going to be pretty much it. I think Headmaster's done it.
Yeah,
Oh,
Headmaster
this
is
looks
done.
like easy timing.
He's watched too
Instead
many
of
of my
Mutas,
VODs.
it's Dragoons.
But there we go, it looks like Headmaster has done what his teammates could not. He's taken down a member of White here. I don't think GyRo can hold on. And with these reinforcing zealots coming in from the other bases as well, his 3rd base economy is up. GyRo is completely unable to build any units. And the dropship has been taken down as well, and this is just an amazing push in by Headmaster at the perfect timing. And the complete anti-timing there by GyRo, unfortunately, as he did go to try and take out those temples.
Yeah, that was really, really quick. Taking out those temples, that tank positioning was a lot like that Reaver positioning earlier. They're both just like chilling out, like where they have very, very little usefulness. So, wow, that does it for Headmaster. Congratulations for taking out GyRo. I was also informed that Hero, the meat that is spelled like GyRo, is actually Greek instead of Turkish. So I was culturally insensitive and I want to apologize for that, as well as apologize for a terrible, terrible joke. So there it is. But at least the game was good, you know?
It was.
I feel like that
was
really
certainly the
redeemed
best.
a lot.
Free Constantinople.
That's the first game that Headmaster showed in the STPL, the first game on Hitchhiker. And you know what, that was actually a really good game, so I'm really glad we got to see that. And that's actually going to end our first series for today. It's going to be 3-1 for White, so they didn't win 4-0, which I know a lot of people were predicting. And I say a lot of people, but I didn't actually ask anyone. I'm just going to guess. But it was a 3-1, so really well done for pSi. Their games were very close, actually. And I think pSi have been training under a waterfall since the end of round 1, because their players are doing a lot better this time.
Yeah. I was actually really impressed. That was a really back and forth game. You could tell that both players like really wanted to kind of try the same ideas, like heavy economic harass, and I think they both did a really fantastic job with it. But I think that missed tank positioning at the end and not dealing with that bulldog effectively enough was a little bit too much. So, I'm glad that Psi got on the board there at the end. I think it's cool that even though it's kind of a best of 5 format, we still play all 4 games. So I'm glad that we got a chance to see Psi really, pull out, show a good game.
It was an awesome scrappy game, so.
Was, I am gonna bring up the results just so we can show that off. There we go, as you can see, 3-1 for Psi. Now, sorry for cutting you off there, Cadency. Do you have any thoughts about that series?
No, I don't have any thoughts at all.
Damn.
Haha! I'll bet you were really fooled by that one, Kix.
I almost thought that we were gonna have like some insightful Cadency knowledge.
Little did you know.
But you have to pay for that, like that's expensive. I can't afford that with my budget.
I mean, you have to pay for my insightful knowledge too, but you didn't, so now this is all you get.
It is.
Happens like the giraffe knowledge for free though. Well, I don't know. I think that game was pretty good. I liked the part where the Weaver was killing behind the mirror.
And this is the reason giraffes are going extinct around the world.
Yeah, they're being overworked in the casting industry. Whoops.
That's it. Yeah, they're being, elephants are poached for their tusks. Giraffes are poached for their necks, so they can be hollowed out. Have small Scottish girls' hands put inside them. Booming industry.
That suddenly got very dark.
One of the sad realities of our world, that and having tanks killing Zelnaga temples when you need them to defend your front door.
Yep, and that is going to end our first series for today, but don't go anywhere, guys, because we are going to be moving on to the next series in just a moment. Now, let me just take it over to a 5-minute break to give Cadency, Rapid, and I a little bit of a break, and we will see you guys very shortly. And we won't keep it too long because I know Rapid is now up at 5:30 in the morning for this, so huge thanks to him putting his dirty esports money to good use.
Stay tuned.
5:30, by the way.
It's 5:23, surely.
Close enough.
Either way.
Out of all of those times, it's not 5:30. Like, 5:30 is
No, it's
2:45, by
half
the way.
Oh, I forgot you get triggered by that. Sorry. Yeah, let's move it on to the back soon screen, and I will see you guys in just a few minutes.
It's 4:45.